Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of GBN. I am so excited to be with you here today. I'm Lori Mcneal, an international business strategist, and I love bringing leaders to the stage who are just doing impactful, amazing things around the globe. Thank you so much to our guests here today, Hua Nguyen, Dr. Hua Nguyen, and Sir Kaya Redford. Thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thank you so much for having us, Lori.
Absolutely. You each specialize in such specific areas, and yet the unique thing about the fact that both of you are here today is that there's beautiful ways, so much synergy that the two of you actually bring to this enriching conversation that we're about to have and share with the world today. So I want to start with you, Dr. White. So tell us a little bit about what you do and why it's so important, because I know that a huge part of your messaging is actually living that abundant, fulfilled, more larger than life kind of life. So tell us a little bit more about that.
You know, when you say abundance, I call it living the extraordinary life with purpose, right? Regardless of where you come from or where you are right now. Right. And so going through my own journey of all the different hats that I've wear, right? But how can I utilize that in my own personal life skills in both personal and business and actually help elevate other people around the world, regardless of what age group or what background they're from? And that's why I love traveling. So I've been able to connect my passion for, traveling and then connecting with different cultures, but also utilizing my unique skill sets and what I've learned in my own journey in all the wheelhouses of things that I've done to be able to elevate people to the next level.
I love that. I love the fact that you're using internal tools in your toolbox to help people around the world solve external problems. I absolutely love that. And all of the amazing internal tools that you bring to the world in only a unique way that you can. That's beautiful. Sir Kaya Redford, thank you so much for being here. I know that you have a very unique way that you help entrepreneurs all over the world through a process called neuro-linguistic programming. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, thank you so much for interviewing me, Lori, and being on this incredible show. People that have heard of neuroscience and neuro-linguistic programming are maybe familiar with the great communicator, US President Ronald Reagan, Bill Clinton, Oprah Winfrey, Richard Branson, Tony Blair. If you watch tennis, you got Serena Williams, or if you watch movies, Hugh Jackman. These are the famous people. And myself as a success coach, having trained the top offices and top companies for now over 20 years, really that technology, neuroscience and neuro-linguistic programming helps people. It's really called the study of human excellence. And there's three aspects of it. Neuro has to do with our mindset, our belief systems. Linguistic language has to do with our ability to effectively communicate. Are you able to speak into the listening of your clients, your spouse, your kids? And the last piece is programming, which is, people always say to me, well, you're not going to program me, are you, Kaya? And I say, I'm so sorry. I'm too late to that party. We've already been programmed. You've been programmed since childhood by whomever. In some cases, some people have been very lucky to be programmed and inspired by successful, happy parents. But most people don't grow up that way. We're taught by people who have struggled, who have not also found happiness themselves, who have been financially struggling. So what we're doing is we're shifting our state and our behavior so that we can get better results.
I love it. And you bring up actually a really important aspect to the work that both of you do around the world, which is really understanding who you are, where you came from, what got you to this point in your life right now in both very different ways. So talk to us just a little bit about how past traumas, past experiences play into shifting that mindset with the people that you work with.
It's huge because, I grew up refugee camp in the Philippines, came to the US at 8.5. My parents were janitors. And so when you talk about shifting and adapting, I was in 18 different schools, right? Didn't speak the language. English is my third language. Growing up in a little project in a trailer, right? But with my dad passing away, right, I was very close to my dad. Now my mom has single mom 3. And so it's not just financial struggles growing up. I had a lot of other trauma that was involved. But I utilized that, but it gave me such hyper focus. Internally, I knew that I could not impact the external world, but I was not going to let the situation control my destiny. And at a very young age, at the tender age of 10, I knew that what I wanted for my life, and it keeps evolving bigger and bigger as I grow, but that stems from within. And that's the inner work that I do, and I share those strategies. And each of my journey, there's a new trauma. There's other things that happen, whether it's relationship or other things that, in my business or failing in certain things. Like, how do you cope? We all suffer and we all go through pain, but how do you utilize to feel that in a positive direction?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that as we go along our journey, we add those skills, we add those tools to our toolbox that help us overcome bigger and bigger challenges along the way, although those challenges might be very different.
Right.
You bigger challenges, bigger skill set that's needed to overcome those challenges. Sorkaya, talk to us a little bit about when you work with people, how difficult is it to really help them shift their mindset using NLP? What are some of the biggest challenges that you see in that process for people?
One of my dear friends and also my mentor, Bill Walsh, he was talking about the thing that holds most people back. Why do 95% of companies fail in the first 5 years? And even those that even make it past the first 5 years, 95% of them fail in the next 5 years. So please write this down. The name is Henry Ford. And Henry Ford was famous for saying, whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, either way, you're right.
Absolutely.
And so what we've come to believe is that the thing that holds most people back is self-doubt. And I always tell people, I don't believe anybody is born with self-doubt. I don't think anybody's ever born with procrastination, born with fear. These are all learned behaviors, things that we picked up along the way, just like you might have caught a cold or a virus or something, and you want to remove that. So the thing that we're helping most people break through is the self-doubt, because we know that once you become bulletproof in your mindset, bulletproof in your confidence, you will get the skill sets. You will learn and master. You'll read the books. You'll do anything you need to do. And then you will do the behaviors you need to do, but it starts with the mindset. And so I had a big challenge because I had extremely negative thinking. I had a workaholic father who was always gone. I had an alcoholic mother. We lived in a third world country. My parents entrusted people to take care of us, and they ended up being psychopaths. And so myself, my sister, and my brother, we went through enormous amount of trauma. And then in my 20s and 30s, I had no purpose, no direction. I didn't know who I was. I used to stutter when I would speak. I got into alcoholism. I got into drugs. I was just a complete hot mess. And so I ended up going to my first seminar, never knowing that I would ever be a coach, to heal me, to fix me, to solve my life. And then from there, I started sharing, and I met Bob Proctor. And then he created an assignment. He said, Kaya, go form a mastermind. I didn't even know what I was doing forming a mastermind. Next thing you know, these same things that healed me, these people in the mastermind were starting to do it, and they became number one in their office and number one in their life. They became outstanding, like Dr. Waja said. So this whole thing has just turned out to be a miracle. And I'm so glad to be here to share these things with you, Lori.
We're so glad that you're here with us. And you brought up so many golden nuggets. I heard mindset, I heard vision, I heard the power of the external influence. So Dr. Waugh, talk to us a little bit about some of those components that Sorkaya just shared as far as the importance in moving forward in the process that you work with people.
That's a huge part. You touch right on the mindset part, right? That's a huge starting point. And then how do you bridge the gap between the mindset and the motivation and actually executing the action and performing consistency? Because that's where most people fall off the wagon. They get motivated and have the mindset, and then it doesn't have immediate results or something, and they don't stick with it, and they lose it and they start over again. And so bridging that gap, because I'm that, right? I teach things that I personally have struggled with, and I understand the prep. I've invested a lot in a lot of these different things in masterminds and in getting into the right rooms, but how come my action doesn't match with those? And it's a consistent elevation. Even though I've grown a lot, that's something that's a transformation process, and it's tying the behavior, the new behavior, to something that's positive. Because the natural tendency is to want to focus on something you like and you avoid the things you don't like. And so that's the biggest, how do we repivot this so that whatever this is that you claim or your past self said that I hate doing this. And this is something that Sir Kaya has helped me in my own journey of certain things that I said, I cannot, I'm great at everything, but this little area, I hate to exercise. I've just not been good at it, right? But I use that perfect example because we reprogrammed the association to a positive association around exercise and why I do it. And so readjusting your why and a positive association to what you used to say it's a negative thing. If you can do that and all of a sudden small steps, small consistency, and you do it, what's reasonable, right?
Absolutely.
1 minute.
So
Yes.
good. We are out of time, but I wanted to say thank you so much for joining us on this very special episode. Just really quickly, how can people get a hold of you?
People can get a hold of me on my website. It's bethe123.com.
Love it. And what about you?
You can text the word TOP, T-O-P, to the phone number 26786. Again, text the word TOP, T-O-P, to the phone number 26786. And then also topproducersglobal.com.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for joining us for another amazing episode from the GBN. I am Lori Mcneal, International Business Strategist, and I am so excited to have a very special guest in studio with us today, Heidi D'Angelo. Thank you so much for joining us here today, Heidi. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you are so passionate about featuring leaders from all over the world in your media platforms using books and magazines. Why is that so important to you?
Okay, thank you, Lori. And what's so important is that I want to get the message out because there's so many invisible heroes out there who want to be exposed and wanted more help to get themselves out international. So I wanted more positivity news too, because featuring these people, they're all influential people, just like you're one of the most influential people around the world doing media and marketing and branding. And that's what I enjoy so much about you. So I bring you out to the world and give you more exposure. And I actually do some of the media work for other people too, because some people, they feel like overwhelmed, they have too much to do, but they can't do it themselves. So I'm willing to help them out.
I love that. And I have been honored in a couple of different magazines that you produce and have done such a beautiful job producing, and everything that goes into that. You and your staff are it's just amazing to work with. A couple of years ago, I had the honor of being on the cover of Influential People magazine, and then just last year, Marketing magazine. And I know that you feature a wide variety of different professionals across the different types of magazines and books that you publish. So tell us a little bit about the types of people that you like to feature within the different platforms.
Okay, I like to feature all kinds of people who need help to get out there. And there's also people who've only been out there, but label them as one of the best around the world, like the best, most influential people they are. And want to show them how they are more of what they call a hero. They help other people out too. And that's where I feel like people need to see that and see who you are. So they can read about them in the article, kind of in a warm way of marketing. So I wanted to show who you are.
I love that because there's so many great leaders all over that really need that bigger visibility, that need that bigger voice. And you have a passion for helping people to gain that exposure and really almost the unsung heroes maybe, or the experts in their field, but that just need more people to know about them or to tell the important stories and impact that they're having on the world. You know, media, branding, and marketing are so important to help people have that greater impact and get those greater messages out there. And I love that your books and your magazines help people really accomplish that in a bigger way, which is so important. So can you name for us the different magazines that you actually publish?
Okay, right now I have Influential People magazine and Influential Doctor magazine, International Fitness Fashion magazine, and Business Marketing magazine. Pretty soon it's going to be the Most Influential Woman magazine and Most Influential Real Estate People magazine. So, and right now I do have what we call Influential People News. The news is not pretty much someone put together, make a TV show out of it too.
So I love that because you already know the direction that you are taking your company to the next step with the television shows and creating that greater impact, that greater visibility for those leaders that have not only already been featured, but for the new people that you're going to be featuring, that they now have more than one platform to really help spread their messages. So can we expect that television show in 2024, next year?
This year and play.
Yes.
Nothing is impossible with God. All things are possible.
Yes. I love it. So how can people find you? What can people expect for when they work with you in this process? What's that like?
It will be on my website. They can go to Influential People News, thevenue.com. Then they can go to contact us. Then my team will notify me. Then I'll get in contact with them.
I love that. And I know that having been featured a couple of different times in your magazines, that you are a joy to work with. And you and your staff just do a great, beautiful job of everything that you do to really highlight the different aspects of what leaders have to offer into the world. So I definitely highly recommend you and what you're doing. And I just want to congratulate you on your success so far, and definitely want to encourage everyone to stay involved and follow Heidi, because she is headed toward television next and a lot of other amazing things. So thank you so much for joining us on the show here today, Heidi. It's been a pleasure having this conversation and talking with you a little bit today. Thank you so much for joining us on GBN. Until next time, I'm Lori Mcneal. Have a great day.